Hi, we are at the final episode of the signature series Be Evil, where we form a safe space together of self expression and not conformity. Forget what and how everyone else thinks we should be. As long as we are safe and not causing harm to others, we have every right to shine as bright as we need to. And if this sounds like something that you would like to get into, great. If not, don't worry. You can come back in a couple weeks when I go back to our regular programming where we talk about crushes and read an excerpt of the Crush Chronicles, my memoir that I'm writing over on Patreon. Hey there, it's Jitsi, and you're listening to the Crush Chronicles podcast, a safe space for millennials to reflect on our crushes and how they affect our lives. So grab your coffee or wine, pull out your old diaries, and settle in for today's topic and discussion. Anyway, hey there, my evil little crushers. Thank you for tuning in. And for new listeners, hi, my name is Rachel, aka Jitsi, and at Rachel Jitsawat on all my socials. I'm your host and the author of The 9 Lives of Rachel Jitsawat over on Patreon, where I'm publishing my first memoir, also titled The Crush Chronicles. Although this podcast is inspired by the memoir, you do not have to have read any of it in order to enjoy this podcast. If you'd like to anyway, you of course are welcome to do so, and you may find the link to today's chapter in the show notes or visit patreon.com/Jitsi. For today's sneak peek reading, as usual, I tried to find something that would go with today's theme, and the closest I could get was something from my sophomore year in the story of Blaine. So here we go with the reading. My ego was shutting down, reverting back into the defensive state that it took when I halted the prospect of going to that sophomore dance. I didn't explore these newly discovered feelings, but repressed them. Blaine would probably find Brenda more attractive anyway, I told myself as I prepared to go to sleep. Blaine was a guy, and no guy was capable of reciprocating my attraction. I knew because so many before had told me so. The next day, despite my hyper-awareness of his presence, the electrifying jolt I experienced every time he entered the room, and the compulsory need I felt to run my fingers over my hair and smooth my shirt while we conversed, I continued on as if nothing had changed, even though it had, for me. And now for today's episode. Remember, I want you to think of this series as you see a more confident version of yourself out in the wild and you're like, hey, they're hot. Remember, this season's tagline is to be someone's crush, starting with your own. And I hope this series, now that we are in the final episode, is helping you to do so. And although this is the final episode of the 5-part series, you do not have to listen to them in order. So if you started here, that's fine. Just go back and listen to the other ones when you're ready, if you would like to. And I am always going to start out each episode by reminding you that the B in Be Evil stands for balance. We are not chasing perfection by doing this. We are trying to add little sparks, little happiness into our days. At the end of each episode, I'll give you all an action assignment to at least help eliminate decision fatigue as I spew out this information to you. And you can try to implement it whenever you can. And I hope you do balance that action with a form of rest because you deserve it. All right. So the L in Be Evil stands for Be a Listener. And we're going to break this down as we usually do into 3 parts. So the first one is to just stop. Just stop. Stop doing the harmful self-talk. You're not going to be able to stop doing it 100%. We're human. We're going to be mean to ourselves sometimes. But I do think that we have a tendency, especially nowadays with all of our added stressors, to do it more often than is healthy. So what am I talking about by harmful self-talk? Again, we all do it. I'm ugly. I'm fat. I need to lose weight. I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. Why did I let that happen? Yada, yada, yada. There's millions of different ways that we can be mean to ourselves, right? So remember, and I know this is super cliche advice, but it's true. Would you say that to a loved one? Would you say that to your baby sister? Would you say that to your best friend? Would you say that to your mom? Depending on your relationship with all of those people, you know what I mean? Would you say that to somebody you cared about? If you wouldn't, then don't say it to yourself. We only have, I tell my kids this all the time. We only have ourselves. Yes, we have other people. Other people are here for us. We do need other people. We're humans. We need other human contact. But when we are here alone, on our own, we are our own company, and we should not be mean to ourselves while we're there alone in our own company. We need to show ourselves love and appreciation. We need to be able to enjoy being with ourselves. If we're always mean to ourselves, we're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. So when you catch yourself in negative self-speak, ask yourself if you truly believe it. Is there evidence to back this up, or are you just being mean? And chances are you probably are just being mean. But if you actually do think that there is evidence to back up your claim, how can you present a solution to yourself in a kinder way? Because just telling yourself you're stupid, or just telling yourself you're fat, or whatever it is, that you can't do the presentation, or you're not going to fit in this dress, or whatever it is, it's not going to help. You can be kind to yourself and find a solution. But I can almost guarantee that most of the time, you're just being mean. I don't know why we do it. I'm not a doctor, psychologist, whatever. Honestly, I think it's probably just an easy way out, a way to avoid dealing with our problems. That's my personal opinion, but I know it's not nice, and we should really give ourselves the respect that we deserve. If we don't respect ourselves, we're setting an example for other people to not respect us either. Number 2, listen to your own voice. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying in a previous episode, where we kind of have to cut out the noise. There's so many opinions that can come at us. It's not even just television anymore. My fellow millennials, we just had TV, and our parents would even limit that TV time, but that would be really the only influence we would get. Maybe we would listen to the radio. Music was a little bit different, but for the most part, I feel like music was inspiring and not detrimental to our mental health. But now we get it constantly, and we get it everywhere. We get email marketing. If we watch TV anymore, mostly we watch streaming, but ads are everywhere. The social media, we get text messages, and then that's not even including just normal human interaction. So we get so much, but listen to your own voice. Is it mimicking things, these negative things that you're hearing? And is it really you? If it is, if you're being a little mean girl, convert your inner mean girl into your inner bestie. Instead of saying, I look like shit, you could switch it up and say, I totally slayed today. Now it's time for a candlelight bath. Because sometimes when you do a lot of hard work, you're going to see it. You're going to feel it. But it doesn't mean you have to be mean to yourself. So again, make sure that it's actually your voice that you're listening to. And if your voice is still being mean, remember to just make it stop. You're not going to be able to do it 100% of the time, but make it stop and convert your inner mean girl into your inner bestie, and make sure you're really telling yourself in your own voice something good about yourself. And the final thing I want to say, the very final step in the Be Evil framework is flip the voice when necessary, which is kind of echoing what number 2 was saying, but it's very important because this is the part where you're going from not just catching yourself saying mean things to yourself, but just implementing positive talk to begin with. Instead of initiating with a negative comment to yourself, you start initiating with positive comments to yourself. So instead of just saying, gosh, I'm such a bitch, or I was such a bitch, you could say, man, I am a badass bitch. Or you can say instead, oh, man, I don't know if I can do this. I can do this. Or it's okay if I fail because at least I'm trying. Stuff like that. Very simple, very short, but easier said than done, right? Think of these as kind of like, well, this might be a little bit of a, what do you call it? Cliche, overused buzzword, but turn them into positive affirmations. Make your own. Have your own little positive affirmation ritual or something. Just positive self-talk to yourself. Create your own mantra or your own phrase, something that you can tell yourself. If it's, I'm a badass bitch, go with that. There was actually a YouTube video that I watched from The Financial Diet where the host there, Chelsea, was doing a mini series called Just Getting Good. And she was interviewing women who were, I think, 40 and older. Maybe it was 50 and older. And one of those women said that she always goes into a crowded room saying, I am the baddest bitch in the room. And that's just how she kind of set her mark for how she remembered to be nice to herself and boost her confidence. And I thought that was just so great. I'm the baddest bitch in the room. I will link that episode in the show notes. Anyway, now it's time for just one thing. Each episode, I leave you with just one thing. And this is the last action assignment of the Be Evil framework. So I hope all of these action assignments have been quick and easy for you. And I hope that picking just one thing for you has helped eliminate your decision fatigue. So the final action assignment is when you catch yourself doing harmful self-talk, write it down, which I know seems counterintuitive, but hold on. Then write down how you're going to convert what that inner mean girl said into what your inner bestie would say. Do this as many times as necessary. You could start with just once a day, once a week, whatever is easiest for you. until you learn to lessen your self-talk, which will help you get into step 3, where you start talking more positively initially instead of more negatively. I'm not saying that you're going to make this go away 100%. Again, we're human, but I'm hoping that this will help you catch it most of the time, right? And that's it for this episode. That's it for this series. Before I give a little recap, I just want to remind you, if you'd like to dive a little bit deeper with a little guidance, be sure to sign up for my Patreon. It's free, where I will be sending out the show notes, and the past posts will be there too if you need to reference back to the old ones, to this episode, with a link to a downloadable PDF to help you get you out on your Be Evil journey. So, a quick recap going through this whole Be Evil series. 1, be entertained. Just like you would like to take your crush out, take yourself out on a date. Be engaged. Just like you are hyper aware of everything your crush does, likes, etc. Be engaged in your own interests. Be a VIP. Treat yourself like you would treat your crush. Actually, better than how you would treat your crush, because you're a VIP. Be investigatory. Just like you would want to get to know your crush better, get to know yourself better. Ask questions. I bet you're really cool to get to know. And finally, be a listener. You wouldn't let someone trash talk your crush, or if you did, you probably wouldn't be happy about it. So don't trash talk yourself. Listen to how you're talking to yourself and try to make it better. I hope this series has helped you learn to be your own crush, or at least kind of get you pointed in that direction. Feel free to reach out to me anytime with any questions. And until next time, be safe, be evil, and be you. Bye. So, what do you think? How do you feel? If you like this episode and would like to hear another, download the Alive podcast app, where you can find our archive of audio episodes and discover hundreds of shows featuring Black and diverse voices on the first Black and woman-owned network. If you upgrade to ad-free, please remember to select Rachel Jitsawat as your referring host. The Crush Chronicles podcast is produced by me, Rachel Jitsawat. The music is by Musictown, and the sound effects are by Pixabay. Thank you for listening, and until next time, remember to be somebody's crush, starting with your own.